Today, we're plunging into a world where everyday life is just constantly smashing into these hidden explosive realities.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
We're talking about the incredible action-packed universe of Sakamoto Days. Now, even if you kind of know the premise, we've pulled together a ton of sources, the actual manga, official extra materials, even some key Japanese resources. I want to give you a real shortcut, Get you properly informed about this whole fascinating saga, our mission.
Yeah.
Dig up the most important bits of knowledge and insight.
Right.
And the core idea, the thing that grabs you right away, is Taro Sakamoto. Legendary hitman, gives it all up for love, wants a quiet life running a convenience store.
A dream, right?
Exactly. But of course, the assassin world he left behind, it just refuses to let him go. And that creates this brilliant tension, often really funny too, between his normal daily life Nichiju and this totally encroaching, extraordinary Nichiju.
Yeah, and what's really key here right from the start is that it's not just Sakamoto's personal struggle, it's bigger. It's like a fundamental clash, a systemic conflict between the established kind of shadowy power, the Japan Assassin Association, the JA, and this deeply nihilistic group called the Slur Faction. And their whole origin, as we'll get into, is tragically tangled up with the JAA's own dark past.
Oh, interesting.
And the series just nails this unique mix of like super high energy, perfectly planned action, but also genuine slice of life comedy, where deadly fights can just erupt in the most normal places. Think like a quiet supermarket aisle suddenly becomes a war zone.
Keeps you on your toes.
Totally.
Okay, so let's unpack this world building first, because this is where the everyday really meets the mayhem, and it's just genius.
He really is.
At its heart, Sakamoto Days works because you've got these two societies living side by side, but always like bumping into each other. You've got the surface world, Omote Shikai, that's just modern Japan, right?
Yeah.
Convenience stores, trains, quiet suburbs, familiar stuff.
Yep, total normal.
But right underneath that, there's the underworld, Urashikai. And yeah, it's violent, but it's also surprisingly structured. A whole society of pro-assassins.
Highly organized, yeah.
And the brilliance, the comedy gold, comes from when these two worlds constantly, chaotically intersect. The story does such a good job grounding this crazy violence in places you recognize.
Right.
Like the Tokyo area, Sakamoto's own little suburban shop. The Sakamoto Shooten becomes this like ordinary hub for total chaos. Even real places like Shinjuku pop up as stages for huge fights.
It really hammers home that theme, doesn't it? The extraordinary just bursting into the ordinary, often with hilarious results too.
Definitely.
And what's really fascinating here is how this underworld, its reach, it goes way beyond Japan.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
The plot brings in powerful Chinese mafia groups. You've got characters like Liu Xiaotan tied into that.
Yeah.
Then there's these mentions of like super high security prisons somewhere in Southeast Asia where major players escaped from.
Wow. And you see senior JAA guys just hopping on planes for overseas business trips like it's nothing. So it's not just a local Japanese thing. It confirms this is part of a much bigger global network of, secret organizations.
A worldwide secret society.
Pretty much like an invisible layer running things globally.
That's wild. So not just secret, but global, operating alongside governments. You'd think, okay, assassin underworld, total anarchy, right?
You would, but no.
But what our deep dive shows is, it's way more complex. It's actually fascinating. What can you tell us about how this hidden world is actually structured, politically, socially?
Right. It's anything but anarchic. That's the key takeaway. This underworld, it's basically a sophisticated parallel state, a shadow government, really.
A shadow government.
Yeah. And running the show in Japan is the Japan Assassin Association, the JA, or Satsurin for short. And this isn't some small club. It's massive. Over 1,000 members, something like 400 licensed pros just in Japan. 400
licensed assassins.
Exactly. And the JAA acts just like a government. It manages contracts, it does R&D for weapons, and get this, it's even responsible for fixing public property damage from their missions.
Wait, seriously? They clean up after themselves?
Yeah. Think about the budget that takes. It shows how serious they are about secrecy, about keeping the normal world completely unaware. They also have a strict code, especially about avoiding ordinary civilians. Break the rules and you face serious punishment. They even have their own Satsurin prison. They try to spin it, positioning themselves as a deterrent to heinous crime.
A deterrent? That's quite a claim for an assassin group causing all this destruction.
It is.
But speaking of them acting like a state, if they're causing all this collateral damage, where's the actual Japanese government? The police, the military, Their silence is kind of deafening, isn't it?
Exactly. Their total absence is really conspicuous. It suggests a few things. Either the JA is just overwhelmingly powerful, or their secrecy is impenetrable, or maybe there's some kind of quiet, unspoken agreement with the real government.
Like letting them handle this stuff.
Possibly. Letting them police a world that's beyond normal government control. It feels less like crime control and more like a parallel economy of controlled violence, where this illegal group actually pays to cover up the destruction it causes just to stay hidden.
That implies an insane level of power.
It really does. And like you said, a deterrent. Well, this parallel government has everything. Its own school, the Japan Clear Creation Academy, or JCC, an elite force called Order, its own justice system with the prison, even cleanup crews called floaters. It's a completely self-contained system, and yeah, remarkably good at maintaining its own kind of order.
Mind-boggling. A hidden government just operating. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. How do fights actually work? What's the power system in this world? It's not magic, you said.
Definitely not magic. The main power system in Sakamoto Days is what you could call the assassin's craft.
A craft?
Yeah, it's all about pushing human limits. Peak physical condition, mastering martial arts, tactical thinking, being incredible with weapons, and it's super professionalized, that JCC Academy. It's a brutal 4-year program.
How brutal?
90% of students either drop out or get killed.
90%.
Yeah, only the top 10% make it through and get a license. They are the absolute best of the best. And within that, assassins get really specialized. Like, Nagumo's disguises are unbelievable. Haisuke can make sniper bullets ricochet in impossible ways.
Oh yeah, the ricochet shots.
Right. Takamura's sword-style Ijutsu can apparently slice through buildings. Osaragi has genuine superhuman strength. It's not one size fits all. It's about finding your niche and mastering it.
Okay, so peak human potential. Love that. But then I've heard about something called the path of killing. Is that still part of this craft, or is that something else?
It kind of blurs the line, actually. The path of killing, Koroshi no Michisuji, it's this unique ability, seems to be innate, passed down in the Akao family. Rian had it, and so does her niece, Akira.
So what does it do?
It lets them literally see the best way to take down a target. Like a visual line or path appears in their sight, showing the optimal route for attack or movement. It's not explicitly psychic, but it's like intuition dialed up to 11, almost precognitive. More of a gift than pure skill, you know?
Okay, a natural talent bordering on supernatural. And then we get the real outlier, Shin Asakura's psychic powers. This is where it gets really cool, because the manga is super clear. This isn't magic.
Right. No mystical stuff here.
It's explicitly science-based. Shin got his powers by accidentally swallowing some experimental drug from the lab, which is itself this shady, unapproved research place. It's such a fresh take on superpowers.
Totally agree. And Shin's power isn't fixed. It evolves. Starts as basic mind reading, though even that has limits. Like, he can't read Nagumo's mind. It's too guarded.
Interesting.
Then it grows into predictive analysis, kind of with future sight. But he's actually reading the tiny signals in an opponent's brain, the motor preparation potentials, to see their moves before they happen. And the latest we've seen is thought manipulation. He can briefly mess with an enemy's thoughts. But the key thing is, like you said, this was given to him by accident. Scientifically, it's different from the earned craft of the others.
Right, earned versus given.
Exactly. And his powers aren't foolproof. They're tied to his physical and mental state, so he can get worn down in long fights. If you think about the bigger picture, this split traditional skill versus unpredictable science power creates a really cool dynamic. It shakes everything up.
It really does. Skill versus this unpredictable X factor. Okay, so we have this complex world, assassins pushing human limits, plus Shin's unique powers. But that leads to the why. Why are they fighting? What drives these conflicts? And to get that, we got to dig into the history, right? Which sounds pretty messy.
Oh, it is. Deeply messy. The motivations here are all tangled up in like a decade's worth of history, often tragic stuff, all interconnected. It's not straightforward.
So where do we start?
Well, some key early events. You've got Satoru Yatsumura, who actually co-founded Order, getting framed and kicked out about 8 years before the main story. Then there's Keizuki, who becomes Slur. Later on, he gets sent to the JCC as a spy against his will. Maybe 8 to 6 years before things kick off.
Just setting the stage for disaster.
Pretty much. These aren't just background details, they're like the first cracks appearing in the whole system.
And the big one, the main drama, sounds like the Okutabe Art Museum incident. Also called the death of Rhinocale.
Yeah, that's the absolute pivotal moment. Happened about 6 years before the story we're reading now.
So what went down? Why is it so crucial?
Okay, so during this really risky mission, Uzuki gets exposed as a spy. He's forced to betray his team. Rian, though, she understands he didn't want to, and she actually helps him escape. But then this JAA executive, Sayasaki, manipulates things, so Uzuki unknowingly ends up fighting Rian, and he kills her. Yeah. Sakamoto, completely devastated, goes after Uzuki and defeats him. This single event just unleashes this wave of trauma, betrayal, deep grudges. It shapes everything that comes after. It's the wound that never really heals for any of them.
And it's that trauma, that loss, that pushes Sakamoto to actually retire.
Exactly. After Rian's death, he meets Aoi, falls in love, and makes this completely unheard of decision to just walk away from the assassin life. That's about 5 years before the story starts. He makes a promise to her, a no-kill vow for Satsu, settles down, opens the store,
Tries to build a normal life.
tries his best. Then, right when our main story kicks off, Shin Asakura gets sent to kill the retired Sakamoto. But Shin sees the peaceful life Sakamoto built, gets inspired, and basically says no way to his orders.
And at the same time.
Right, at the same time, this massive 1 billion yen bounty drops on Sakamoto's head. And supposedly, it's from Rionakao.
Wait, from Rian. But she's...
Exactly. It's actually coming from a separate personality that developed inside the traumatized Kei Uzuki. A fractured piece of his mind is Rian.
Wow. That's heavy. So for you, the listener, understanding this tangled, non-linear history, that's key. It explains all the deep-seated reasons why these characters clash, why they're loyal to some and hate others. It's the invisible force driving the whole plot.
Definitely.
Okay, so that sets the stage perfectly. Now let's look at the main groups, the core factions, because each one seems to represent a different way of dealing with this brutal assassin world, a different path.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
First up, you've got Sakamoto Shoten. The convenience store crew, we could call them maybe the neutral path.
Yeah.
Trying to find peace.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not just a store crew. They represent this really radical idea that maybe even the most violent people can choose peace, choose to protect life instead of taking it.
So obviously led by Taro Sakamoto, the legend himself. He's overweight now, which is kind of a physical sign of his peaceful life, right?
Yeah, right. But in a fight, he burns so many calories, he snaps back to his prime lean form temporarily. It's wild, and he sticks rigidly to that no-kill rule, using just everyday stuff pens, frying pans, whatever, as incredibly effective non-lethal weapons.
It's amazing to watch.
It really is. And his group is the sort of found family. You've got Shin, the psychic partner, Lu Xiaotang, who's a drunken fistmaster and a Chinese mafia daughter hiding out, and Haisuke Mashimo, the sniper guy, who often feels like the group's moral compass.
A very unlikely family unit.
Totally.
Okay, then at the other extreme, you have the Japan Assassin Association, JA, and its elite unit, Order. They're like the old order.
Exactly. The established power, often pretty amoral, definitely hierarchical. Order is their top squad, their highest military power, basically. Their job is to maintain the status quo, usually by taking out high-level threats. Getting into Order is like the ultimate proof of skill for an assassin.
But you said they're amoral. Is their mission really about order, or is it just about keeping their control?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Their stated goal is order, yeah, but their methods. They often suggest it's more about maintaining their own power and influence. You've got key members like Takamura, almost a myth, the ghost of the JAA, master swordsman, Shishiba, his hammer-wielding protege, Osaragi with that terrifying strength.
Yeah.
And then there's Uki, the current leader, who's actually secretly working with the Slur Faction. He's this violence-loving supremacist aiming for a new golden era of hitmen. It just shows the cracks and dangerous ideas even within the supposed order. They're not united, and their order is often built on ruthlessness.
Okay, chaos within the order. And finally, the third major group, the Slur Faction, the revolutionaries maybe.
Yeah, or maybe the vengeful ones. They're the main antagonists, deeply nihilistic, and their entire existence stems from this profound trauma and despair.
And their origin. It's chilling.
It really is. Most of them are survivors of a place called Al-Kamal. It was presented as a JA-run orphanage, but secretly. It was a horrific training facility designed to mass-produce assassins using just inhumane methods. We're talking brutal physical and psychological torture meant to break them down and rebuild them as killers.
Oh, wow.
So understandably, their goal now is just Total destruction. Wipe out the assassin underworld that tortured them and the surface world that just ignored it all.
And their leader is Kei Uzuki X.
Right. Sakamoto's old contemporary, the unwilling spy we talked about, deeply traumatized by killing Ran. That trauma shattered his mind, creating multiple personalities, including one that is Ran. And he has this rare medical condition, situs inversus. His organs are flipped, meaning he can survive a direct hit to where his heart should be, makes him incredibly hard to kill.
So the Slur Faction, their very existence basically proves that the JAA system created its own worst enemy.
Exactly. It's not some outside evil. It's an internal war. The JAA's ruthless pursuit of power directly created the force that now wants to burn it all down.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? When the system meant to control violence ends up creating its most dangerous opponents, what chance does peace really have?
It's a cycle of violence, essentially. A civil war between the system's enforcers and its abused, rejected products coming back for revenge. It's a dark commentary on unchecked power, for sure.
Okay, let's step back from the in-universe stuff for a sec. Talk about the creator, Yuto Suzuki, and what might have inspired the series. His artwork gets a ton of praise.
Oh, absolutely. The action in the manga is just exceptionally well done. The panel layouts, the sense of motion, the dynamic camera angles. People often compare it to modern action movies. Directors like Christopher Nolan, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Thematically, you can see influences, right? The whole legendary killer tries to retire thing, shades of John Wick there.
Sure.
And blending that high-stakes action with really mundane domestic life, that feels a bit like Spy X Family, maybe. But Suzuki had this interest early on. His older one-shot, Locker Room, already played with mixing the normal and the bizarre. That's clearly become his signature style in Sakamoto Days.
And for people wanting to get into it or dive deeper, what's the canon hierarchy?
Good question. Manga is king. That's the primary source. Then you've got official stuff like the fan book, the Assassin File 1, and the light novels. Those are generally seen as Tier 1 canon. They add directly to the manga's world.
And the anime.
The anime is secondary. It's an adaptation, mostly faithful, but, some fans feel it doesn't quite capture the manga's unique art style, that amazing visual flow. It's definitely worth reading the manga to get the full impact of Suzuki's visual storytelling.
Gotcha. Manga first. So, as we wrap up our deep dive here, what are some of the big lingering questions? The mysteries Sakamoto Days leaves us pondering.
Oh, there are definitely some big ones.
I bet. The most significant, maybe, is that whole JAA relationship with the actual Japanese government. We touched on it, but really, what is it? Sanctioned black ops, just ignoring them. Something else, given how big they are and how little official response there is.
It's a huge question mark hanging over everything.
Yeah.
And then there's alcohol. We still don't know the full story, how it started, how involved Chairman Asaki really was beyond just manipulating Azuki, and how many other graduates might be lurking out there, ticking time bombs of trauma.
Yeah, that's creepy to think about. And connecting to that, there's a big fan theory, right? About Shin and alcohol.
Yes. It's a very popular theory and honestly pretty well supported.
What's the evidence?
Well, Shin's childhood before age 6 is basically a blank slate. We know his biological dad, Joe Ando, managed alcohol. Plus, another alcohol survivor, Haruma, seems weirdly familiar with Shin. So the logical jump many fans make is Joe Ando, maybe horrified by the place, rescued his own son, Shin, from alcohol and handed him off to Director Asakura at the lab. That's where he later got his powers.
And if that's true,
if we connect that to the bigger picture, it makes Shin a survivor of both of the underworld's messed up experiments. The brutal orphanages and the shady science labs, it adds this whole other layer of tragedy and resilience to his character. He's like living proof of the system's darkness.
Wow. Yeah, that adds a lot. Okay, well, that brings us pretty much to the end of our deep dive into the incredible world of Sakamoto Days. We've covered a ton, the blend of ordinary and extraordinary, the deep lore, the factions, the history.
Dense stuff.
It really is. And hopefully you see now that Sakamoto Days isn't just about cool fights. It's really exploring how past trauma, stuff you try to bury, always claws its way back to challenge whatever peace you've managed to find. It really asks, can you ever truly escape your past? Or does it always come back demanding some kind of reckoning, whether that's a bounty on your head or just the ghosts of people you knew?
A heavy question.
Definitely. So we really hope you'll check out the manga or the anime with all this in mind. You might just see that friendly convenience store owner in a whole new light.